With quadratic graphs, it's probably better to start off first with straight line graphs. Don't know how much you know about that, but I'm just going to whiz through it quickly. Straight line graphs always have the equation y equals mx plus c. So a typical straight line equation will be y equals 2x plus 1. When you're asked to draw a graph like this, you may be given x coordinates. If not, you have to make up x coordinates. What I mean by that is you need to draw a table with x and y and put some x coordinates down. Again, as I say, they may be given to you. And using this table, you substitute your x values into this equation to find out what y equals. So 2 times 1, 2 times 1 plus 1 equals 3. And then you do 2 times 2, which equals 4, plus 1 equals 5. Right, so that's 5. And then you do 3 times 2, which is 6, plus 1 equals 7. And then you'd plot these coordinates, these x coordinates and y coordinates onto a graph, which I'm going to do now quickly just to show you how it's done. So that's 1, 2, 3. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then it's 1 and 3, 1 and 3. So looking at that there, 1 and 3. And then we've got 2 and 5, 2 and 5. And then we've got 3 and 7, which is 3 and 7. And there is your straight line graph. Obviously not very straight because I am not using a ruler, but that's how you do a straight line graph or straight line equation. If we've got a quadratic equation, it's slightly different. We need to remember a few mathematical rules. So we need to know that a plus and a minus together equals a minus, which you may already know. A minus and a minus together equals a plus. Plus and a plus together obviously equals a plus. We also need to remember that a minus times a minus equals a plus, and a plus times a minus equals a minus. The next thing you need to remember is if you're squaring a minus number, so something like minus 5 squared, that would equal a positive 25. If you're squaring a minus 3, that would equal positive 9. So it's always a positive number when you square a minus number. As long as you remember these rules, then a quadratic equation is not too bad, as long as we keep it simple and structured. So we might have a quadratic equation like y equals x squared minus 2x minus 4. We know it's a quadratic equation because this x here is squared. They may give you a table with x and y coordinates on, or you may need to make it up. For the sake of this one, I'm going to do minus 2, we're going to do minus 1, we're going to do 0, we're going to do 1, and we're going to do 2. Okay, so y equals 2 squared, sorry, minus 2 squared, isn't it? Minus 2 squared minus 2 times minus 2 minus 4. That's what we're dealing with first. Minus 2 squared, which we know from this rule here, will equal a positive 4. Then we've got minus 2 times minus 2, and from this rule over here we know that will be a positive. So minus 2 times minus 2 is plus 4, and then we've got to subtract 4. So 4 plus 4 is 8, minus 4 is 4. So your first coordinate is 4. Which seems right. Yep, that looks right to me. Okay, The next one will be minus 1 squared. So minus 1 squared. So remembering this equation here, minus 1 squared minus 2 times minus 1 minus 4. So we know that 1 squared, following this rule, minus 1 squared would equal positive 1. And then it's minus 2 times minus 1 equals a positive 2, because a minus times a minus is a positive. And then that's minus 4. So then you'd get 1 plus 2 equals 3 minus 4. 3 minus 4 equals minus 1. So then this coordinate here is minus 1. And you'd follow suit for 0. With 0 you do minus, where are we at now? You've got 0 squared, which is 0, minus 2 times 0, which is 0, minus 4. So I just plugged in the values there, and that would equal minus 4. Then it becomes simple because we've got rid of the minus numbers now, so we just do 1 squared, which is 1 squared is 1, obviously, minus 2 times 1 minus 4. So I'm literally just plugging these values in to this equation, which is over here, and then that would equal, so you've got 1 minus 2 minus 4, and then you've got 1 minus 2 minus 4, so then that would equal minus 5 if my calculations are correct. And then we would work with 2, so then you've got 2 squared, 2 squared minus 2 times 2 minus 4, so then that would equal 4, and minus 2 times minus 2 is minus 4, and then minus 4 again, and that should give us 4 minus 4 is 0, minus 4 again is minus 4. And you'd literally just plot that onto a graph, and with quadratic graphs they always look like a bucket, so they call them bucket graphs as well, so it always looks something like that. So I'll draw it really quickly. So we've got minus 2, you've got minus 1, you've got 1, you've got 2, and then on the y coordinates we're going up to, we've got minus, goes up to minus 5, so we've got minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, minus 4, minus 5, and then you've got 1, 2, 3, 4. So then on our first coordinate, the x would be minus 2 and the y would be 4. So your point would be there. And then the next one is minus 1 minus 1. So your x is minus 1, and your y is minus 1. So somewhere around there, it's really crappy. So somewhere around there. And then you've got 0 and minus 4. So your x would be 0, and your y would be minus 4. So that's there. And then your 1, x is 1, y is minus 4, x is 1, y is y is minus 5, isn't it? Minus 5. And then your x is 2 and your y is minus 4. So your x is 2, your y is minus 4. Now notice if we carried on doing these coordinates, this would then turn into your bucket. Probably end up looking something like that. So that's why they call it bucket graph. What really starts to make sense now is if you imagine these graphs, what they show is where the line intercepts the x-axis twice. So these coordinates here, where they're intercepting the x-axis, will give you the answers to quadratic equations. I know that might be getting a bit detailed and a bit confusing, but I don't know how much you know about quadratic equations. But if you actually figure that out using the formula, you'd get two values for x. You get two values for x, and you get two values for y. And what these actually show is the two places, the two coordinates, the x and y coordinates, of where the graph intercepts the x-axis. I don't know if that was clear or not. I know it's really rough, but if you've got any questions, just let me know.